Welcome back to the deep dive. We're jumping straight in today, looking at some really specific source material.
Right. It's the instructions, the charges, given by Immanuel to Jesus, or Michael of Nippodon, as he's known celestially.
Exactly. Just before his final bestowal here on Earth, Urantia. This is all coming from paper 120, part 2.
And this isn't just, a historical document. It's way more. It reveals the spiritual foundations, the universal meaning behind Jesus's life.
So it's not just story, it's structure.
Kind of a blueprint, yeah.
Yeah.
A blueprint for spiritual development that applies to, well, everyone he created, including you listening right now.
Okay, let's unpack that then.
Yeah.
What we want to understand is, what were these standards Michael was held to? They seem incredibly high stakes.
Oh, absolutely.
And why did he choose to live and die the way he did? And, crucially, what does that choice mean for, your own potential for spiritual growth?
Well, first, you have to understand the framework. It's called the technique of Son-Arrington.
Sonington. Okay.
Yeah, it's this mandatory process set up by the eternal Son on Paradise. Think of it as a universal requirement.
For all creator sons.
All 700,000 of them, yeah. They have to complete 7 bestowals, living as different types of creatures in their own universes.
7. Wow. Okay, so that's the big picture. But this final one, here on Urantia, it seems like it had some unique twists, some really tough limitations.
It absolutely did. A couple things really stand out. First, he had to grow up completely normally.
Like a normal kid.
Exactly. A full human education.
Yeah.
And no divine cheat codes during childhood.
Okay. And the second thing.
This is the big one, I think. He had to operate solely based on the will of the Paradise Father.
Wait, just the Father's will. Why is that such a major restriction? I mean, isn't that standard for divine beings?
Well, yes and no. Usually yes. But in his previous 6 bestowals, Michael always worked with the, let's say, combined guidance of the Trinity Father, Son, and Spirit.
Ah, I see.
For this last one, this really crucial final act, he essentially limited his cosmic support network. He relied only on the Father's will, channeled through his inner adjuster.
So stripping back his resources, almost.
Precisely. It meant that if he succeeded, the victory would be a demonstration of pure, unadulterated trust, a much higher spiritual achievement,
Okay, that completely changes how you picture his life here.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't just, like, casually performing miracles. He was under maximum constraint.
Maximum constraint, yes. But, and this is so important, he still had free will. That theme runs through everything.
He could have quit, even with this massive universal protocol hanging over him.
Absolutely. He retained the inherent right at any moment to terminate the bestowal, to say, nope, this is too much.
So when you get to the end, the crucifixion,
Yeah.
was that required? Was that suffering part of the Father's plan for him?
No, absolutely not. The source material is incredibly clear on this.
Okay.
His choice to see it through, to drink the cup, as he put it, was his own personal decision. An act of profound love, yes, but made as a human.
So the suffering itself.
That was the direct result of the free will choices of other people. Wicked choices, frankly. It was murder committed by humans exercising their own sovereignty badly, not a divine requirement.
So the Father's will was just finish the mission, live the life fully.
Finish the life experience as planned, yes. The way he died wasn't mandated suffering from God. It was a tragic consequence of the environment he was in and the choices people made around him.
It draws a really sharp line between divine intent and, well, human failure.
A critical distinction. He came to live and die as humans do. The brutality of his death invites human behavior, not divine command.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Beyond being a model life, there was this massive cosmic task tucked into the charges, almost incidentally, it seemed.
Terminating the Lucifer rebellion.
Right, in this system, Satania, that wasn't just a local problem for Earth, was it?
Oh, not at all. This rebellion had been messing things up across Nippodon, our whole local universe, for ages. But the way he had to end it, that's what's profound.
How so?
He was specifically charged to do it as the Son of Man.
As a human.
As a mortal creature, relying only on human faith and complete submission to the Father's will.
Meaning, he couldn't just snap his fingers, use his creator powers.
Exactly. He had to keep his divine prerogatives, his, let's call it arbitrary power, completely aside for this specific task, even though he created the beings he was dealing with.
Why? Why go through that the hard way?
Immanuel actually suggested this strategy, this humility. It was called a fitting climax to the mortal bestowal.
Fitting how?
By winning this cosmic battle in the likeness of the lowest creatures, That's us, human beings. He could legitimately, wrest dominion back from the fallen sons. Lucifer, Caligastia, the whole rebellious crew.
Okay, but why was that method so important? Couldn't a display of divine power have settled it faster?
Faster, maybe, but not better. Think about the universal message. Justice and mercy. If he'd just used overwhelming power, the rebels could always claim, well, he used an unfair advantage.
Right. Yeah, I guess they could.
But by overcoming this massive system-wide rebellion, using only the tools available to every single human faith, love, choosing the Father's way well, that experience becomes part of the Supreme Being. It's a validated creature-level victory.
So it proves it can be done.
Exactly. It validates the struggle every mortal faces against evil, using just their faith. It basically removes any excuse the rebels might have had anywhere in the universe.
That's quite a connection. The highest victory mirroring the lowest struggle.
So once he completed this, what changed immediately for Urantia, for this planet?
Big changes. First, he was formally recognized as the planetary prince of Urantia.
Replacing Caligastia, the traitor.
Right. This wasn't just a title change. It was a cosmic acknowledgement of his rightful sovereignty over this world.
But he's not physically ruling here now, so how does that work? Who's in charge day to day?
He holds the eternal title, the ultimate sovereignty, but the actual on-the-ground job is currently held by Majiventa Melchizedek.
The Sage of Salem. That's the one. He acts as the planetary prince vice-regent. Sort of like an acting governor, handling the spiritual recovery efforts in Michael's name.
Okay. Now, the charges also mentioned atoning for past planetary messes.
Yeah.
Two specific ones, right? Caligastia's betrayal and then the Adamic default. They're different.
Very different, and it's important to get that distinction right. Caligastia's act was pure rebellion. High treason against the universe government, rejecting the Father's plan outright.
Okay, clear-cut rebellion.
Yeah.
And Adam and Eve.
Their failure was termed a default. They didn't rebel in the same way, but they neglected their mission. They deviated from the divine plan for planetary uplift prematurely.
So not treason, but negligence with massive consequences.
Exactly. They weren't charged with rebellion, but their default still left the planet in a huge spiritual and biological mess. Michael's mission aimed to address the fallout from both events.
So his life and death were like a massive course correction for the planet.
A spiritual recalibration, precisely.
Yeah.
And tied into finishing his mission, he requested something specific, a dispensational judgment.
What did that mean for people who had already lived and died here?
It meant the formal closing of that planetary age. And practically, it involved the resurrection of the sleeping mortal survivors.
Sleeping survivors.
Yeah, mortals who had achieved fusion with their thought adjusters, their divine spark, but had died physically before that judgment. They were resurrected onto the mansion worlds, the next stage of life, effectively graduating from Urantia's difficult history.
Moving on. And that judgment, it came with something else, something huge for everyone still here and everyone since.
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest shift, perhaps, the establishment of the dispensation of the bestowed Spirit of Truth at Pentecost.
The Spirit of Truth. This is the game changer, you said.
Absolutely. Think of it as Michael's own spiritual presence, now universally available, making that inner guidance system, the thought adjuster, the Father's presence, permanently accessible to everyone.
How was it before Pentecost?
Before then, connecting with that inner guidance, that fragment of the Father, often required a very conscious, deliberate moral choice. You had to kind of tune in actively, and it wasn't always easy or automatic.
And now, after Pentecost.
Now, because of the Spirit of Truth, every normal human mind is immediately and fully accessible to the adjuster's ministry, whether you're consciously aware of it or not.
Wow. So it's like the spiritual Wi-Fi is always on now for everyone.
That's a pretty good analogy, yeah. It switched from a sort of dial-up connection you had to initiate to an always-on high-speed connection to the Father within you. That's the enduring legacy for you right now.
That's incredible. Fundamental shift in spiritual mechanics.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the practical side. What was he actually told to do during his short life here? He was primarily a teacher, right?
That was the main counsel, yes. Functioned largely as a teacher. And the charges actually break this down into a really clear four-step framework for how to live that ideal religious life.
A framework we can use.
Absolutely applicable to your life right now. It's practical.
Okay, let's hear it. Step 1.
Liberation. Liberate and inspire the human spiritual nature. Basically, wake people up. Shake them out of dead religious habits and remind them they're children of God.
Step 2.
Illumination. Illuminate the darkened human intellect. Replace superstition and fear-based dogma with actual spiritual truth. Clear the mental clutter.
Okay. Step 3 sounds really key. Emancipation from fear.
This is deep healing territory. Heal souls and free minds from those age-old fears. This is about moving completely away from fear-based religion. The idea of a vengeful God, needing sacrifices to appease him, and shifting entirely to a love-based understanding. God as a loving father, universal brotherhood. It's freedom from spiritual anxiety.
Makes sense. But wait, if he was mostly a teacher, why is step 4 so material? Ministry. Healing the sick, meeting physical needs.
Because you can't separate the two. The spiritual life isn't lived in a vacuum. The charges are clear. Minister to people's physical well-being and material comfort.
So practical help matters just as much as preaching.
Often it matters more initially. It's hard to receive a spiritual message if you're starving or in pain. Addressing physical suffering opens the door for the spiritual truth. They're interwoven in a real life.
Right, the whole person. And this ideal life he lived, it wasn't just an example for people back then.
Oh, no. It was intended as instruction, inspiration, edification, a living lesson for every being, human and superhuman, across his entire universe, Abaddon, forever.
The scope is just mind-boggling. That one life echoing across millions of worlds.
Exactly. And the core driver behind it all, the absolute heart of the mission, according to the charges, was his decision to live a life motivated only by doing the will of the Paradise Father.
A singular focus.
And through that one short life, he achieved something incredible, a dual revelation simultaneously.
Okay, what were the two parts of that?
First, the one we usually think of, revealing God to man, showing the invisible Father in a tangible, relatable way to us, creatures of flesh and blood.
And the second?
Revealing man to God, showing the universe, showing God, the amazing transcendent possibilities that a human can achieve when they know God and choose his will, even within one short life.
So it's God reaching down and man reaching up, meeting in the middle.
Perfectly put. The phenomenon of man seeking God and finding him, and God seeking man and finding him, and doing it to mutual satisfaction, it completes the circle.
Which really puts our own lives into perspective, doesn't it?
It does. The sources gently say this life, the one you're living now, is just the vestibule to your real life. It's the training ground, the starting point for an eternal journey, built on that same foundation of faith he demonstrated.
And by sticking to that plan, by using human faith to win that cosmic struggle against rebellion, he didn't just set an example, he cemented his own authority, right?
Absolutely. That victory liquidated all those pending arguments and dissensions in the universe. It ensured Michael was declared the settled, unchallenged, eternal sovereign of Nebadon. No more rebellions like Lucifer's could threaten his rule.
The terms of the charges were met, completely and eternally.
In spectacular fashion.
Wow. This really reframes his time here. It wasn't just a ministry tour. It was this incredibly high-stakes, personally chosen mission, executed under the toughest conditions imaginable, using only human faith.
It really was. And if you bring that right back down to your own experience listening to this, think about it. The Creator Son's ultimate universe-defining victory depended entirely on his ability to function as the Son of Man.
Relying only on faith, not his power.
Exactly. That elevates your faith, mortal faith, and your free will choices to the highest possible status in the universe. It wasn't arbitrary power that won the day, it was trust. So the final thought to maybe leave you with is this. If the greatest spiritual victory we know of was won in the likeness of the lowest creature, using only the faith available to you right now, what incredible, unimaginable, eternal achievements are actually possible within your own short lifetime in the flesh?